Lawmakers are revising a draft of China's legislation law, the law which regulates how laws are made. The revisions address social issues that occurred with the country's rapid economic development. Legislation power will be granted to more cities than before, but local government's power to issue rules has been restricted. How exactly do people benefit from the revisions, and how will the abuse of legislative power be prevented? CCTV's Ai Yang finds out.
Officials from the Legislative Affairs Commission of NPC Standing Committee met the press on Monday afternoon, one day after the draft amendment of the legislation law was presented to the NPC.
The revision of the legislation law has made public involvement easier. We will solicit more public opinion in the future. Since the 12th NPC, 19 laws have solicited public opinion. It has proved helpful to legislation work.
In the future, for legislation of specific areas, relevant research organizations and field experts will be invited to participate so that laws can be more scientific. Statutory taxation is another highlight of the amendment, which stipulates that taxes can only be levied or cancelled through laws. The latest revision makes clear that government regulation cannot undermine citizens' rights unless it has a legal basis. Officials have explained that this focus on a legal basis is what will allow the government to continue to enforce measures such as property purchasing limits or driving restrictions.
Some people wonder, since some regulations have indeed undermined citizens' rights, whether they're still legal under the new legislation law. To look at this issue, you have to first see if the regulations themselves have any legal basis. For example, some government regulations could impose fines to citizens. This undermines their rights. But since the administrative punishment law of the PRC has given the power to the State Council to issue fines within a certain amount, it is legal within the set limit.
But local government rules will be subjected to further scrutiny to ensure they are in sync with social development goals. For example, a local government may formulate a rule to tackle a current need, but after 2 years, a proposal to enact this measure into official regulation must be submitted to the local People's Congress. This is to make sure urgent matters can be properly dealt with, but the power is not abused. For the next 2 days, political advisors and NPC deputies will hold group meetings to discuss the revision of the legislation law. They will put forward their suggestions and raise further questions before the amendment is to push to the top legislature for a final vote. Ai Yang, CCTV, Beijing.